Welcome back, Hammerheads. Robert Smith here, again from the lovely Brunswick offices out here in Muskegon, Michigan. And on this episode, we're going to talk about one of my personal favorites, and I'm sure everybody loves this ball too, the new 78 hardness black pearl urethane. So I've been wanting to throw this thing for about, 3 months since I heard it been coming out. Hadn't had one yet, finally came out here, guess what I got? I got one of these. So, just a little precursor to what this ball is supposed to be about in case anybody hasn't been watching the bowling world for a while. Everybody's familiar with the purple. Everybody's familiar with the purple. As we all know, with the PBA rule guidelines and stuff, all urethanes that were made pretty much before yesterday are not allowed to be thrown on tour anymore because they're too soft. So, what Hammer's done is come out with a urethane ball that is within the hardness specs that the PBA sets. The old ones used to be 73 hardness, which is a little too soft now, so they came out with the 78. A little firmer, 4 points or so firmer than the other one. What this is supposed to do relative to the purple is it's supposed to be a little bit cleaner through the front. With the ball being harder, makes sense. Means it doesn't have as much give in the shell traction, so it's going to push down lane a little easier. With the urethane motion too, this isn't going to have a ton of back end. It shouldn't, at least. But what it will do is read early. And if anybody's seen a urethane ball that comes right out of the box, this thing reads very early. So I'm, again, haven't thrown one of these. This is my first time throwing this. So I'm going to treat this like every other urethane that I've done, which is I'm going to stand to the right as far as I can. I'm going to throw it right up first arrow. I'm going to watch it hook into the left gutter at about 12 feet, and I'm going to giggle. And then we're going to move on and see if this thing will finally tame off and stuff. So everybody have fun watching me try to break down the black urethane. Oh, that a boy. Oh yeah, that had about 4 hook spots. That's how aggressive that was. Awesome. No, but if anybody has ever thrown a urethane, especially brand new out of the box, first crack, there's something with that urethane cut. It's got so much teeth on it that it can't do anything but just grab the lane and go left. So like with any urethanes, I'm expecting to break this down. It's going to take about 10, 12 shots, sometimes maybe a little more just to make sure we can get this predictability out of the ball. Once it starts settling down, you can start making your moves a little bit easier. Start deciding if you like the way it starts getting a little smoother, stay with it. Or if you're like, nope, I still want to stay rough to get that earliness, you have that option. But for me right now, we're just learning what the ball does. So watch me throw a few more shots. We're just going to keep throwing until this thing calms down. So last shot, right up 5 board, went in the gutter right about 55 feet. Almost got the 7 pin. We're going to do the same shot, see if we can hit the 7. Oh, we're getting better. It's starting to smooth out. We got a little bit less hook. I'm excited about this. But that's only shot 2. So again, same rules. We're just going to keep staying in that same spot until it calms down enough till it's predictable. I'm not trying to make it strike out of the gate. I'm going to get a false read out of the first few shots. So just beating it down, smooth it out, see what it gets to. Oh, here we go. Doing what it's expected to. As you can see, I haven't moved any shots, just letting it just kind of beat itself up. You can see that ball starting to smooth out a little bit. So again, I'm personally not going to move my feet for a minute, just to keep making sure that this thing breaks down, gets to a comfortable spot. So I say let's give it a couple more shots, make sure it breaks down nicely, and then we'll start making our moves. Getting flusher. Yep, and it's starting to calm down. That actually hit the 2-pin flush, so we're getting there. All right, so I'm a little impatient. I want to throw some strikes with this thing, so I lied. We're going to start moving now. So again, with this ball being a urethane, it likes friction. It does not like oil. So I am going to try to throw this ball in the gutter every shot. And we're just gonna see how hard and early this thing keeps popping until it doesn't do it anymore. All right, so I'm gonna let's move 10 left. And my break point is gonna be at the gutter at about 35 feet. There we go. So you can see once I got inside, got a little too steep. Tried to get it to the dry, I had no chance to read. So this thing's already calmed itself down pretty nicely. So let's move back to the right. I was a little overzealous on that one. Let's get back under control a little bit. Get a little too close to the gutter, takes off. All right, so as you can see on that last shot, after moving too far left and the ball didn't even pick up, I moved back to the right, definitely got closer to the early hook on the gutter, and again, it read too fast. So sometimes this is kind of the mistakes you fall into with lead because the dry and the oil is so clipped, and since there's such a distance gap between where the dry starts and where the oil ends on that zone, you start getting into these little weird pockets where you move a little left, the ball forgets the hook, you move a little right, and the ball doesn't push. Kind of normal on urethanes with house shots, but if you can kind of learn to let them just kind of do what they want to do, which is read early, you can still kind of figure these out. So, as you can see, I moved back to the right. Ball hooked too quick again. I am going to go back to where I left that rail. But this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it slower and try to get it to the right even faster to give it time to hook and read out of that spot. Let's see if I can get it done. We'll talk about the carry afterwards, but as you can see what I did there, I slowed it down. I gave it time, but I need that friction in order to get the ball to respond early enough so it can shape and get back. No early hook, no recovery, makes urethanes look really bad, and of course this is why everybody in the world gets angry at people throwing urethane on a house shot. But if you can learn to kind of use that dry as your buddy, it's not a problem, and you won't be anywhere near where the guys with resin play, so everybody's a happy camper. So let's try that again. Way early. Oh, we get to go have some fun with this urethane ball. So there's a lot of friction out there on the gutter. So let's have some fun. Let's see if we can go left, keep it slow, face it early, see if we can get it to recover a little bit. But the trick is on this, you have to get it to the dry quick, otherwise it won't face up in time. The one thing with urethanes, they just don't have that tackiness like the resins do, so that's why they're not very responsive on the back. All right, so we were there. We went Brooklyn missing right. That's always a good miss, so let's go 3 more boards over. See if we can get this right. This ball hits like a truck. But you can see what I'm talking about with the urethane. It's, you know, urethane's meant to be hooked early and controlled. That's why you see a lot of the guys on tour throwing the black urethane hammer, because of the fact that they need the ball to face up early enough because of the amount of oil that they bowl on tour. But, you know, the guys throw the ball really good, so they don't really look for a lot of back end. They're looking for some control on the back end. And then once this kind of gives up and gets a little wiggly, then the resin stuff makes sense, because now it'll recover out of the back end much easier. So, but remember guys, urethane's not meant to be hooked on the back end. It needs to hook in the front in order to do anything on the back end. So, stone 9, we're moving left. And we're just gonna keep going left until it decides to strike for me. There we go. All right. So as you can see, urethanes are weird. They're not just going to jump out and just say, here I am, this is how I'm going to look for the rest of the time owning it. It takes a little nurturing. You got to break them in a little bit, get them under control. As you can see, mine would hook real quick on the front part of the lane, move a little in, get enough oil, all of a sudden kind of zoom off a little bit. They're not bad, but they really need some time to really get learned. I mean, this is an interesting ball. You got to remember, it's coming back from 30-something years ago. But what it offers is a unique perspective on how to play the front of the lane, the first 20 feet instead of always the back 20. But again, with these, like anything else with the urethanes, you got to give them time. Let them work themselves in. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the black urethane hammer. Until the next one, be good, hammerheads.